I May Destroy You premiered last night on HBO. The Michaela Cole directed, created series, and starring her, which I think the last time we really spoke about Michaela Cole was probably Black Earth Rising
Mhm.
from Netflix, looking at the genocide in Africa. Was it the Rwandan
It
genocide?
was. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I
That
thought.
came out early 2019.
So go check our review on that. We had some thoughts. I think overall we felt like there were some good aspects, but didn't really. I think we thought it was a bit confusing. Wasn't really like written super well.
Squandered potential, I'd say.
Yeah, but Michaela Cole, I think, always kind of stood out as someone who we were keeping our eye on. To see her really get this opportunity to shine in this 30-minute, was this a drama comedy type thing? Like it's tough to tell from the first episode because it ends with some really tough themes, but up until then, it kind of just reminded me of like Insecure or something, where it's just kind of like a goofy
Right.
show set in London.
And that's the thing. Reading a lot of the reviews, which of course I've seen more of the show. It's a 12 episode series, so this will take us through August. But reading a lot of those reviews, they're all harping on where we end in that pilot. And it's funny that if you just go off the pilot, you might not understand where the show is going. But I think it's being marketed as like a unorthodox view at consent when it comes to sex and stuff like that. And I think we're going to get where the show's going to take us in terms of Cole's character, Arabella, kind of realizing that she was raped on that night in the first episode and coming to grips with that and the actions to follow throughout the season. So you almost, like you said, don't really get that vibe early on. And I think that the way this show is going to handle tone seems to be a lot of the source of a lot of the praise. We're handling heavy themes that Cole are personal to her. She has talked about being assaulted as well. So she's bringing this into her work because obviously she wrote the whole show. So I think off the first episode, you're right. You kind of get that Insecure vibe. There's these friends. There's these other characters. There's these work stressors, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's like a famous author. A one hit book anyway, right? And all that's all familiar, but I think we're really going to get into like some deeper, heavy stuff, and that is pretty exciting because of I think the talent everyone has seen in Cole as a creator. So, so far I think it's the tone, and I'm just curious to see how we're going to see this tone handle some obviously really challenging stuff.
Yeah, and I think speaking to the tone of the first episode for at least the first like 27 minutes of it or so is really just introducing you to Arabella as this a bit eccentric writer, kind of doing her own thing, very much like a product of this modern generation where she's obviously like addicted to her phone and she travels to Italy just to have a hookup with this guy that she kind of likes and I guess wants to be more, and he's kind of stringing her along, and she's peeing with the door open with her friends, and instead of writing, goes out to party with her friends for a little while, and then the tone really shifts. I think at the end as you see her seems to be drugged while out with these friends, kind of falling out of her chair unexpectedly, and then very much out of it as she presents this book, and the last pages of the book, which she wrote while she's drugged, are obviously come across very strange and not really making sense. And then at the very end, she has this flashback to some man either raping her, having sex with her. I think that's going to kind of be one of the themes about this is like the idea of consent. And then she's just kind of like looking at the camera, and you're kind of left with this idea of like, oh, this show totally flips here in these last like 5-ish minutes as you see her. It seems to be drugged and then have this experience, the sexual experience, and I'm really fascinated by it because I think Arabella as a character feels very engaging and also just like fun to be around, which I think they establish right off the bat really well. But then the surrounding characters also I think are pretty engaging. There's a lot of like I think very interesting things at play, like her best friend there. I think his name is Terry. Terry played by Weruch Opia, who's either like engaged or married, but seems to have the side chick, and the fiance wants to have a threesome. I thought that was pretty funny, and like seeing him and his friend like give each other like looks while the two girls are like talking to each other, I thought was funny. I'm really interested to see Papa Esiedu, who plays her gay best friend, who comes, I forgot his name, but comes to like visit her. I thought he was really fun while he was there, and just like he's doing a lot of acting with his face. I thought was great. So there's a lot of like aspects that I'm really interested in, but I think like you alluded to, there's a lot to come. That is probably the main reason to stay tuned in. Any aspects that stood out to you, or anything that you really liked about the first episode?
I think the music stands out. It's kind of obvious thing. Dear Whack drop, Little Sims drop. Cole performs Truffle Butter at karaoke while the night's still going well. That's cool. That's choice. Again, another comp to Insecure,
Yeah.
picking great but not mainstream songs. That's fun. Um, yeah, again, like I'm just really curious to see where this takes us, because all the reviews have really followed a specific thing, and we really just get a taste of that at the end of the pilot. So, but it seems like it's going to be an interesting time, and I want that. I'd rather something be challenging art when it comes to tackling really heavy stuff like sexual assault, Me Too, and whatnot. So that's good. And another co-production from HBO and the BBC, getting a lot of that. Black Earth Rising was a co-production with Netflix, so Cole seems to really stick to her roots with that. That's cool. So yeah, I'm very very intrigued. Looking forward to this.
We'll be talking about I May Destroy You in August when it wraps up.